All right, everybody, how's it going? It is Tuesday, November 16th, 2021, and of course, we just finished with Week 10 in the NFL. And Week 10 didn't go good again. I'm in kind of a slump, I guess you could say. Just not doing well. I went 6-7-1. Everybody gets a tie because of the Lions and the Steelers. But yeah, 86 and 63 and 1 is now the picks record. Not exactly good at all. Could use a really strong turnaround. Hopefully, we can get like 14 games, right? Because there is 15 games this week. So, shake off the bad weeks, looking forward to the good weeks, and hopefully week 11 puts us right back into the good driver's side. You know what I mean? Let's see. Broncos and Rams are off this week, so we don't see these two teams play. Probably a good time for the Rams to get a week off after their most recent set of games. And then, of course, the Broncos always could use some time off to get a little bit more right. So yeah, all right, let's shake off Week 10. Hopefully we have a good Week 11. This has been a crazy year so far. Kind of a hard year for Pick'em, I would say. Some people are doing very, very well. Some people, I'm doing, Hopefully I can do a lot better this week. Hopefully like 13 right at least. We'll see. Thursday Night Football is a game I'm going to be quite interested in watching. Finally, my team's playing Thursday night. The Patriots play the Falcons in Atlanta. The Patriots are 6.5-point favorites with an over-under of 47. As per usual, I always like to say this. The lines are in there just to see who's favorited, and they're from FanDuel. And, if you gamble responsibly and all that. I don't personally do it, but, I just put that up there for those who like it. These are just straight-up picks, so, All right. Excuse me. All right, I don't really think the Falcons are that good of a team. They have some good wins this year, but I don't really think they're a good team. I think Matt Ryan's a pretty good quarterback, but the rest of the team just isn't good. They just got smacked around by the Cowboys, I believe, pretty bad. The Patriots are kind of like... Our team that kind of started kind of bad, kind of struggling to score points, and now the last few games they've been scoring. They've been kind of teeing off on teams that are a lot, that are lesser than them, and I would say the Falcons are a lesser team than them. I'm not as harsh on the Falcons as I was in years past, where it's like, oh, we just don't pick the Falcons around here. But against good teams, you probably shouldn't. Against competent teams, you probably shouldn't when picking the Falcons. But if they're playing like a bad team like Carolina, yeah, you can probably pick Atlanta pretty confidently. But against a team like the Patriots, I don't think so. The way the Patriots defense was able to morph and play and have a game plan against the Browns like the way they were, shut the whole system down to just 7 points. I think the Patriots have much superior coaching, so they'll have a plan for the Atlanta offense. We'll see how often they can score because they've been struggling to do that this year. And as well as, their defense is Swiss cheese, so I would imagine the Patriots have a pretty good offensive field day on them, especially if they get Harris back. So give me the Patriots, something like 28-17, and seems like a pretty good one. I'm only nervous because it's like a home team on Thursday. Being a dog is always a scary pick. This game has a caveat to it. The Saints and the Eagles. I have the Saints winning as long as Kamara is able to play. If not, on Saturday, I'll revisit this game, and we'll see if Kamara's playing. If not, I might have to go with the Eagles, based on the way the Eagles have been playing the last couple games. But one of the things I have noticed about the Eagles is they only seem to beat, like, bad teams. I looked at their schedule. It's like, all right, well, they play good teams pretty close. That's why I have it as 26-21 in favor of the Saints. It just seems like the Eagles are able to play pretty good against like the more upper echelon to like medium good to good teams, but like as soon as it's like a slightly good, like a bad team, the Eagles seem to be able to beat them pretty handily. They kind of like dunk on them almost. The Eagles are opening line favorites at 1.5 with an over-under of 43.5, and I think that has a lot to do with the fact that we don't know if the Saints are going to have Kamara, and that makes sense. If they don't, then I'm probably going to switch my pick to the Eagles. But as long as Kamara plays, I have the Saints winning quite comfortably. They give up, like the Eagles do, about 120 rush yards a game, so that's pretty notable when you're playing a team with Kamara and Ingram at their disposal. And really, the more I think about it, it's like, it doesn't really matter if Kamara doesn't play. I mean, the Saints took it to like a point or two against a much better Titans team. So going up against the Eagles, they're probably going to feel like it's a walk in the park, just in comparison to what they just went up against. So even on the offensive side of the ball, I wonder how the Eagles are going to do against the Saints defense. So either way, give me the Saints over the Eagles. And it may not even be a caveat pick after all. Who gives a shit about this one? The Miami Dolphins play the New York Jets in a AFC Super Battle. The AFC powers are meeting in a crazy game. It's the juggernauts of the AFC, really, is what this is. How does one pick between two mighty foes? The Dolphins are 3-point favorites with an over-under of 45.5. I don't know what the Jets' quarterback situation is. At least with the Dolphins, I know it's probably Tua. And with the Jets, it's who knows. It could be Wilson, it could be Mike White, it could be Josh. Either way, they just don't really have that good of an offense. And if Miami's defense plays the way it did last week, then the Jets have no shot. They just they're going to get rolled in this game. If Miami even does half what they did last week to the Ravens, then the Jets are doomed. Doomed, I tell you. And another pretty meh game, but it's actually kind of a fun game because it's with the Washington football team playing the Panthers, and I believe they're having Cam Newton start this game, so it's Rivera playing Newton. It's kind of like that rematch versus each other. Panthers open up at 3.5-point favorites. I like the Panthers as well. Home team. Cam and them are going to be rolling off some momentum, excitement. They're going to be all right, we got the new thing going on. I believe Cam's going to start. Another big thing that kind of opens it up for the Panthers is that Chase Young, I couldn't remember his name for a second. Chase Young tore his ACL in the last game, unfortunately, for the football team. So that means they're going to be without one of their star players, and their defense might be a little bit easier to move the ball on, especially on the ground or even passing, just, kind of being able to scheme up some pass blocks and get the ball down the field to a slew of actually pretty talented receivers that the Panthers have. Cam can actually somewhat get the ball down the field, so it'll be interesting to see how they do things. It's going to be a kind of a new-look Panthers team that the football team will understand because of Rivera, but we'll see how they're able to defend it without Chase Young, who kind of is the anchor of that defense, who kind of pushes it forward. So if they would have had a player like Chase Young available, if they would have had him still, I would have been able to go, all right, yeah, we'll go with the football team and maybe like an upset here, because they were able to get the kind of upset the Panthers' main focus here, which is to run the football. Sorry, my phone started vibrating crazy. That's why I got distracted there. All right, let's move on to the next one. It's the Buffalo Bills hosting the Indianapolis Colts. Bills are 7.5-point favorites with an over-under of 49.5. Let's see. Trying to think of what I was thinking of this game. So long as the Bills aren't a team that can only beat bad teams this year, which is there's something to that, then the Bills should win this game quite handily. They are pretty big favorites. The Colts don't seem to be that good of a team. They seem to be like hit and miss, inconsistent. They look good, then they look bad, then they're kind of playing. We can't really tell if Carson Wentz is going to be that guy for them or not. So you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. Their defense hasn't been the greatest. We've seen them get into quite a few games where teams are scoring in the mid 20s, low 30s type games against the Colts, which is a little uncommon. If the Colts were playing, if they were playing slightly more consistent football, this is a kind of game where it's like prime for an upset. And if you're a betting type, I would be like, yeah, the Colts probably cover almost an 8-point line here. That's pretty big. But one of the things is I still think the Bills just kind of can win this game. I don't really trust Carson Wentz late game right now. I don't really trust the Colts late game. It seems like they can make something happen, and then all of a sudden they just lose it again. It seems like that's kind of like their plight. The thing they can't shake this season is this inability to hold games, and then they can come back, and then Carson does something really dumb, and then they lose it. And the Bills are a very opportunistic team thanks to the very good coaching of McDermott. So, if you make one mistake, the Bills will capitalize on it. If you make another, they'll capitalize. They will score on turnovers and things of that nature. So, and if Carson turns it over a couple times, that's probably what causes them to lose the game, because the Bills will probably turn around and score on that. So give me the Bills in a really close game, probably one of the better games of the week when it all shakes out. Here's actually the game of the week. It's the Lions playing the Browns. The Lions still seeking their first win, but they snapped their losing streak, tying with the Steelers last week. Browns got embarrassed by the Patriots last week, so they probably hope to just shake that off and head and host Detroit and just hope that, everyone just forgets about that. They open up as 10-point favorites with an over-under of 45. I have them winning 24-14. Detroit's going to try their hardest to win this game, but I don't, as bad as, the Browns just looked, I think they go like a good game, bad game, good game, bad game, good game, bad game, and that's reflective of their record. Or it's like bad game, good game. Like it's like they seem to exchange, and unfortunately Detroit's getting them after a bad loss, so that means they're due for a blowout win. They're take a penny, leave a penny this year is the Cleveland Browns. Whereas the Lions, maybe Josh Reynolds makes a difference for their offense, but I don't know. That's just no good. Just can't find any consistency, and that's until they find it. It's hard to pick them to win a game. So I'll take the Browns. Let's see. All right, more 1 o'clock games. There's 9 of them at 1 o'clock. Oof. Yeah, this one. There's a couple games in a row here where it's like, oh boy. Wow. The 49ers are heading to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. The 49ers are 7-point favorites with an over-under of 46.5. I wouldn't look too much into what the 49ers just did to the Rams. They seem to dominate the Rams, and like everybody forgot about that. It seems like McVay just Shanahan just has something on that team. So I even forgot about it, and I know how the NFC West works. But I do think the 49ers are just a way better team than the Jaguars. Sorry for the misspeak. Jaguars have been playing slightly better football lately. Like if you've been watching their games or like looking at the outcomes, they haven't been like as horrible as like they started the season. So they're starting to kind of figure things out. But I think the 49ers are going to ride off that momentum and kind of do something similar, because it seems like as they're getting healthier, or at least as their offense is getting back into a gelling form with Kittle, Garoppolo, and everybody's starting to kind of, they're starting to figure out the new running scheme with the new running backs. It seems like they're getting more and more comfortable with everything gelling again. Debo's getting better passes because of Kittle's back. And I don't think the Jaguars, as long as the 49ers look somewhat like they did against the Rams, again, tall task because that's just their team they bully, the 49ers do, the Rams. But again, this game probably won't be that close. I think I'm overthinking this because the Jags have that upset Buffalo. The Houston Texans travel to Tennessee to play the Titans. Titans are only 10.5-point favorites with an over-under of 45. It's a weird line. I'm guessing they think the Titans are about to play way down to their competition in this game. But even if they do, the Houston and Detroit are like the worst teams in the league. There's not much needed here. All right, I got the Titans winning 35-17. Even without Henry, this is going to be a massacre. This is a game I have a caveat on, especially because I think I'm going to make this my upset of the week. The reason I think this is going to be an upset is because the Packers, I don't know how many injuries and who's all going to play. Here's who I know isn't going to play. Aaron Jones, I have no idea about Gary. I have to find out and see the Packers injury report on like Saturday afternoon before I have a better idea of how I can call this. But as it stands right now, I think the Packers are going to be without a number of players potentially due to like 1 game or 2 game injuries and stuff like that. And now they're going to go play one of their biggest rivals at their rival's home. And they're slowly getting back to it, but they're also dealing with a number of injuries. Minnesota's coming off a pretty big win. I'm wondering if they're going to try to ride that momentum. They're going to be trying very, very hard in this game. I just feel like the upset's coming here. I just feel it. It's going to be one of those ones. I feel like a lot of people are going to overlook this, but the number of Packers injuries right now is very weird. I think that's part of the reason why that game again, but like they're still doing well despite the injuries. But also, like, Russell Wilson just really didn't look good in that. Like, I'm not trying to take anything away from the Packers defense. But, like, eventually you're going to run into an offense like the Vikings who have the capability of doing things, and they're well-oiled right now. And I'm wondering if that's going to catch the Packers up with all the weird injuries that they've been having. They've been doing great. They've been playing unbelievably well despite all of the injuries in their on that defense. But you got the Chiefs who were struggling on offense, and then you got Russell Wilson in his first game back the last two. So I'm wondering, getting a well-oiled Vikings team who, it is the Vikings. I mean, you never know what you're going to get out of Cousins. But as long as Cook, their other running back, and then the receivers are having a good game, that could be very interesting for the Packers to try to deal with, especially if their defense just, gets a little tired, has just a little bit of fatigue to it. So yeah, give me the Vikings over the Packers in a crazy upset. We'll review this game because of the caveat with the asterisk on it on Saturday, because I want to make sure, because if only like two guys on the Packers are out, I'm probably going to rethink that. But we'll see. Right now, it's my upset of the week. The Ravens play the Bears in Chicago. Ravens are 6.5-point favorites with an over/under of 45.5. I see the Bears getting their shit or the Ravens getting their shit together and kind of beating the Bears pretty handily. I think the interesting part is the Ravens are well aware of how to deal with a quarterback like Justin Fields. So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, the Bears do have that interesting X factor of Fields that is very difficult to defend. But they're also going up against the Ravens defense that deals with Lamar and Lamar-like quarterbacks in practice. So, they know what to do with a guy like Fields. And I'm wondering if the Bears are quite up to speed on how to deal with a guy like Lamar. We'll see how that plays out. I think the Ravens, obviously better coach, better offense, better pretty equal defenses. I'd slightly say the Ravens have a better one. So, yeah, gotta go Ravens. Bears will probably make it pretty interesting at home with Fields, though. Fields versus Lamar feels like a fun game, though. So that'll be fun to watch. Let's go to the 4 o'clock games. This is a pretty fun matchup. Two teams that started white hot and kind of have cooled off lately, trying to get their shine back on. The Bengals coming off a bye week, so that's kind of where I'm leaning at. The Bengals are 1-point favorites with an over/under of 49. This game will be played in Vegas, and based on what I've seen out of Vegas the last couple weeks, man, I didn't want to believe that they were actually collapsing because of all the outside stuff, but I actually think with the Gruden, the Ruggs, the Arnett, I actually think they might have cracked. That's unfortunate. Maybe Rich Bisaccia is, the shine starting to come off and the glitter's falling away. I don't want to think that. I want to think they're able to get this together, but I don't know. Based on what I've seen the last couple games, they just do not look like the same Raiders, and the Chiefs just embarrassed them. They weren't able to do much with the Giants. It's like, uh-oh. And now they're getting another very capable offense in the Bengals, so this is a chance for the Raiders to kind of silence that narrative and kind of silence the doubt people are starting to have about them. Like, oh, here's the Raiders we were waiting to see. And, it's kind of starting to feel like that. And the Bengals, too, it's kind of like, oh, here come the real Bengals. So both teams have a chance to silence it. It's just, what team do I feel like could? It feels like the Bengals, with less outside and less internal distractions, are a team that could get past this little hump that they're in better than the Raiders, who have an interim coach, a bunch of outside distractions, and a bunch of real distractions, because those guys are probably very close with Ruggs. A lot of those guys are probably close with Arnett. A lot of those guys are probably close with Gruden. So right now, that's a pretty distracted team. So I understand now it actually might have cracked them, despite the good job Bisaccia or whatever has done. I think it's a little much. So give me the Bengals. The Raiders can silence a lot of narratives, so can the Bengals, but I think the Bengals have a lot less outside things to distract them from this game. This is another caveat game because I don't know if Kyler Murray's going to play. That literally makes this game different, because if Kyler doesn't play, the Seahawks will win, and if Kyler does play, the Cardinals will win. Yeah, the Cardinals really need this dude back in there. They're a whole different team without him. The Cardinals open as a 2.5-point favorites with over/under of 49.5. I think the expectation is he plays, because he might have been able to play last week. So I think they're just being super, super cautious against some opponents when you already got a really good record to start off. You kind of, but now is the game where you might need to bring him back. I didn't really like what I seen out of the Seahawks offense. They looked really rusty last week. But again, if Kyler doesn't play, they could probably sneak and win this game. If not, then it'll be the Cardinals. I don't really have a ton of insight on this one right now, because I don't know what Arizona looks like going into this. But I'm guessing Kyler plays. A little bit of rust for him, maybe. Who knows with him? But I'll know more Saturday. There's a lot of caveat games. I know. I'm sorry, but there's some significant, like with the Packers, it's significant. With the Saints, it's significant. And I think I have one more, but like, the Steelers one is here's a good one. This will probably be a shootout. The Dallas Cowboys versus Kansas City Chiefs, 6-4 versus 7-2. Chiefs are 2.5-point favorites with an over/under of 55.5. Boy, oh boy, it's hard for people to pick against and make lines against the Chiefs, it appears. I've got the Cowboys winning this game. What it comes down to is I think both teams have very good offenses. Chiefs seem to have kind of gotten their shit together last week against the Raiders. So as long as they have that going on their offensive side of the ball, they'll probably be able to play in this game. But really, when it comes down to it, is I think both offenses fine. Both defenses, ooh boy. What defense do I trust more? The Cowboys. The Chiefs defense, not really. And I think that's really what it comes down to. I think Chiefs have better coaching. Cowboys just more. I think more overall talent. It's just what defense do you trust to get a stop in a shootout? I guess I would trust the Cowboys defense to get a miracle pick with Diggs, more so than I would trust the Chiefs with a defense that's been hit and miss, inconsistent, up and down, left, right, all over. Cowboys have had a couple, against like Brady. So I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, this will be a good game. I expect a shootout, but again, you can expect both big things out of both quarterbacks. You can expect big offense out of this game. You can expect a minimal amount of defense, and then you have to go, all right, well, if it's a shootout, you have to think who makes the big stop, what team can get the big play. It's probably going to be the Cowboys before the Chiefs do it. So give me the Cowboys, and I guess another upset pick. I don't really consider this an upset, but I guess. That's 4 o'clock. There's only 3 games. Sunday Night Football, kind of a boring game. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers playing the Los Angeles Chargers. I guess we can revisit this game if Big Ben's going to play, but I don't really think it matters that much. I know the Chargers' rush defense is god-awful, and I would imagine Najee Harris has a big game, but I don't know. Again, it's like the Steelers weren't able to utilize that against a much worse Lions team. So I'm like, all right, well, what the hell is going on here? So I'm thinking like Big Ben is the reason that Najee can run a little bit, because they have to respect the pass just a little bit with Big Ben out there. When it's Mason Rudolph, you just kind of make sure that the Steelers can't run the ball. So that's kind of why I want to revisit this game. But I think either way, it doesn't matter to me. I think the Chargers are going to win this 28-20. I have very little interest in this game. I'll be quite honest. It just strikes me as a I don't know, boring. Like, it's going to be this weird struggle affair, and it's a slow Steelers game, so I'm good. But I don't know. I like the Chargers to win it, but again, if Big Ben plays, it kind of opens it up for Najee a little bit, which could make the Chargers lose. So there's 4 games I want to revisit this Saturday potentially because of injuries, COVID designations, and all that stuff. The Giants then will play the Buccaneers on Monday Night Football. The Buccaneers have looked rather pedestrian the last few games, but because of this is an interesting one because the Giants play Tom Brady very, very well. They seem to be able to consult coaches of like Christmas past just to get like a way to beat the shit out of Tom Brady. So we'll see if the Bucs have an answer and they start blocking with 6 linemen again. Using a tight end as the 6 linemen. But I'm fairly confident they can win this. The Giants have won a few games. They've looked pretty good in some losses. But I feel like there's something missing. I don't know. They look good against the Raiders their last time out, so maybe there's a small turnaround coming. But the Bucs are 11-point favorites with an over/under of 50 for probably a reason. But yeah, as long as they, as long as Brady doesn't look like an old ass man this game again, like he did against the who the hell did the Bucs just get beat by? Washington. Then yeah. But if they look like that again, the Giants will get an upset, and I'll have another goddamn game wrong and pick them. So let's go, Brady. Hopefully you don't mess up my pick 'em record even more. Here we go. There's the proof. 6-7-1. Sheesh, that's terrible. 86-63, like we said. Like I said, I stink this year. I already know it, like I said. But anyway, that's going to be the picks for this week. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and as always, leave your picks down below in the comment section. I'll be sure to get back to them. I'll try to be a little bit more responsive this week than I was last week. Sorry about that. I'm busy. I'm doing graduate school and all that stuff, so it's nothing personal. So I'm trying to get to everything, but I'll go through and comment on everything right as I post this, and yeah, make sure you leave your thoughts down below, your picks. I'll make sure to comment back, all that good stuff. And what else? Yeah, we're at week 11 already. It's flying by. I can't believe it. Thanksgiving is next week. I'm pretty sure it's next week, right? Yeah, it's next week. That's crazy. So, all right, that's week 11. Hopefully, we have a better week than we have been having, or else we're in for a very ugly record by the end of the year. We're almost we're not even at 100 wins yet. So, yeesh. Let me know how you're doing down below too. You're probably doing better than I am, which is a good thing. So, congrats if you are. But yeah, all right. Thank you guys so much. Have a good rest of your day and night whenever you listen to this. And yeah, those are week 11 down the drain. Hopefully, you're doing better than me. Yeah, leave your picks down below, like, subscribe, all that stuff. We crossed over to 6,900. Thanks a lot for all that. And yeah, we're almost to 7,000. Thank you guys. Keep subscribing. We'll maybe hit it. All right, peace out.